Hey guys, today is February 23rd, 2008, and I'm back again. This time the topic of conversation that's been on my mind has definitely been eclipses. February seems to be the month for eclipses. We've had two so far. Starting on February 7th, we kicked off the year with our first solar annual eclipse. And for those who don't know what a solar eclipse is, it's the following. It is when the moon obscures the view of the sun's rays from Earth. So essentially we're getting the moon's shadow blocking us. And during a total solar eclipse, the moon will pass in front of the sun and we'll get a beautiful corona that's visible. But with an annual eclipse, which we had a couple of weeks ago, this is when the moon passes in front of the sun, but isn't quite the same size, so that it's a bit smaller. Essentially a dime covering a quarter. So we'll always still get a nice big chunk of sun still visible. Nonetheless, it's still beautiful. A couple of days ago, on February 20th, we had our first lunar eclipse of the year, and it was total. And with this total eclipse, well, for those who don't know what a lunar eclipse is, it's pretty much the opposite of what a solar eclipse is, but it is the Earth obscuring the view of the sun's rays to the moon. So we're blocking out the sun's light and casting a shadow over the moon. Now, most people believe that during a lunar eclipse that the moon disappears because there's no sun, and that's not the case. The sun's light actually refracts off the Earth's atmosphere and displays a reddish hue onto the moon, which gives it that reddish tint or rust color. And I think that definitely reminds me, or if it doesn't others, of the Book of Revelations or the ancient tales of the moon turning to blood, because it definitely looks like it. It looks like the moon's been dipped in it. Now, there has been a lot of speculation. 12 to 14 days prior to and after an eclipse, there's usually major Earth changes taking place. And this has definitely been the case. If you've seen the news lately, or if you've checked earthchangemedias.com, there's been an unsurmountable amount of earthquakes and also volcano eruptions that have been taking place since the solar eclipse and also the lunar eclipse now. A lot of people believe that with solar eclipses, what this brings is physical change to Earth or to our solar system. And with a lunar eclipse, people believe this brings more internal or emotional changes within the people. So I've definitely been seeing lots of Earth changes physically and emotionally, or to the people it seems things have been going on in our elections, but that's always the case. It is politics. A cute little tidbit story that I came across recently involving lunar eclipses has to deal with Christopher Columbus. Back in 1504, he had been stranded with his crew in Jamaica, and he had run out of supplies and food. So he turned to the natives and he asks for their support and help. Of course, knowing Christopher Columbus, I am sure he wasn't as polite as the natives would have liked him to have been, so they refused him any service. And Christopher Columbus, being a pissed off sailor, went back to his German almanac and consulted it and realized that there was going to be a lunar eclipse the next night. So he took this information back to the native leader and told them, if you refuse to give me food and supplies for my crew and myself, I will take away your moon. The natives, of course, didn't believe him. They laughed him off and said, go about your way. That night, however, there was no moon visible to them, and Christopher Columbus pretty much fooled them because they ended up giving him everything that he wanted, and the next night the moon returned. Terrible story, but a great piece of our history nonetheless. Now, I was wondering if any of you guys have noticed anything or heard anything about these eclipses, because it's definitely a mystical time, and February is a short month as it is, and we've already had two of these. And our next lunar eclipse won't be for another 2 years. Not until 2010, December 20th, 2010, I believe. And I think that's big. I think the fact that we've had these two eclipses in 1 month is stirring a lot of things. A lot of people believe this could be another kickoff to a rush of awareness for people. I've been reading cases where people believe that awareness or higher consciousness has been coming to people lately in the past few years through huge waves, and they think this might be another big wave. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that, but I'd really be interested in hearing it, so let me know, okay? Take care.